All right. It's your boy AO, Lakers for Life extended hitter. We're going to focus on what we need to do in game 3 to pull out a win. We got the highlights below from game 2. We'll touch on that. But let's get into it. And again, like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Engage with me. I'll engage back. Like it or hate it, drop a comment and debate it. But when we look at game 2, glad we came out with the win. Let's celebrate that. A win in the playoffs is a win in the playoffs, especially early in a series, right? We tied it up 1-1, got to breathe a little bit. Now we're heading to Minnesota. And there's a few things that stood out in game 2 that I think we need to bring to game 3 and tweak, right? So let's start with the Lakers offense. I thought that first quarter was phenomenal. We came out locked in. We just didn't see a complete Luka show. There was intention on the offensive side of the ball. We came out hot and came out to a big lead. And it wasn't just the offense. We'll pair it with the defense discussion in just a little bit. But it was really, we were playing with a little more pace in that first half, a little more thrust. We finished with 13 fast break points. We only had 6 in game 1, right? Which was a big deal. When we play with pace and get LeBron out into the open floor, that's huge. That's huge. We need to do more of that in game 3. JJ Redick even acknowledged we needed to play with more pace, thrust. So let's get LeBron out on the open floor, get him some easy buckets. Those standstill threes, those middies, not the best look. He's not going to be able to take these defenders off the dribble in a standstill. We need to run a little bit more action to get the Minnesota defense moving. And we've talked about that in our preview of the series, right? It can't just be Luka Doncic matchup hunting and then living with the results. Even though he's carving Minnesota up, we need a little more variation. We only shot 20% from 3, which was egregious. It was really, really bad. Austin was 0 for 6, and it could be due to tired legs, but I'm hoping we get one game in game 3 where we can lights out. We see it from both our trio and we see it from Gabe Vincent, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Rui, right? So 20% from 3 and to win by 9. We only scored 94 points at the end of the day, which is crazy. And that low 3-point percentage is a part of that. We need to have a good shooting game on the road. And I think that's going to be a big differentiator, right? Minnesota's had a good shooting game, and they killed us. They beat the bricks off of us in game 1. They might still have that in their bag. They're going home now. They're going to have the crowd on their side. One thing about, Minnesota in that second half, from their offensive standpoint, I thought they missed a lot of momentum-changing threes that were in transition, that were open, that could have changed the game. Because on the flip side of the first half, really the first quarter and a half or end of second quarter wasn't good. We could not score the ball in the second half, which was concerning. It could be legs. We had that 6-minute drought in the second half. And until JJ Redick went berserk on the bench to light them up, we finally had that 7-0 run. We made big plays in the second half. We got some stops where needed. Austin drew some charges. He played well in the second half. He was kind of carrying the scoring load, getting some drives to the bucket, which was very helpful. But we made big plays. That steal LeBron James had on Anthony Edwards was a momentum shifter. We were only up 9 at that point. Could have been cut to 7, and it would have been a game. But I think we need to really have more intention on offense. We need to have a good shooting game. I can see Minnesota just packing the paint, making it hard for Luka to kind of do his thing, and forcing the different Lakers to make shots. Vincent, DFS, Rui, you guys beat us. You guys beat us from 3. We're not going to, we'll make it difficult for Luka to get easy points in the lane, but you guys beat us from 3. You haven't shot well all series, right? So we'll see what Minnesota throws at us. I did see some dives from Rui. I did see some dives from DFS. He had 7 points on the night. Gabe Vincent had 2, 3, 6. So we got a little more bench production. Rui had 11, but we need to see more. To kind of touch, Jackson Hayes might be unplayable going into game 3. I think we still need to play him. He's clearly not doing something that JJ Redick wants when he inserts him in the lineup. And I think we have to live with that. He pulled Jackson Hayes out within 2 minutes of the third quarter and within 2 minutes of the fourth. Some of the worst basketball I've seen from Hayes. But for us to show variation in different type of looks as well too on the defensive and offensive side of the ball, he needs to do something. He's not doing anything right now. And I'm looking to see how we can optimize him in game 3. Vando and his minutes continue to be a mystery. I know we've acknowledged it on the preview in our game 1 recap. Vando's not going to score the ball, and that's going to be his Achilles heel. I mean, he had that beautiful steal and then that air ball 3. I laughed. That was pretty funny. But his defense isn't even happening right now. We start shifting to the defensive side of the ball. We're not even playing him on defense with Anthony Edwards, which is a bit confusing. He's our best defender for Anthony Edwards, and he has shown how he can muck up the game. So I'm a little curious on why JJ's not playing him in certain lineups, but he needs to fix that. He needs to fix that and get him out on the floor. We have our 8. I thought Goodwin showed activity. He's not going to be your scorer, but LeBron James, if we're talking about defense, LeBron James played great on the defensive side of the ball. He was very active in the first half, and he had sequences in the second half where he closed out on the ball strong against Naz Reid and some of the other players he had coverages on. And that is, and we said in the preview show, he's the fulcrum on defense. When LeBron James is locked in, he's rebounding, he's closing out, he's being aggressive on that perimeter, we are a different defensive team. And we saw that in game 2. That's how we broke the game open and had that cushion for what was a very stagnant and slow second half on the offensive side of the ball, right? So we're going to need to see more of that defense in game 3. The team did a great job of not over-helping. The switches were a lot more crisp. The rotations were a lot more crisp in that first half. We took the foot off the gas in that second half, but I need to see that defense again. I thought, on defensively, we controlled the transition points against Minnesota really well. They only had 6 compared to 29 in game 1. And we got out in transition, which made our offense a lot better. So kind of looking at this in a nutshell, or like what are our key takeaways for a game 3 win? Minnesota's going to be at home. They're going to have energy. They got 2. They just got to steal. They can still keep the series tied with just 1 win. We need to steal 1 for that series tied, right, to come back to LA and get advantage in the series. But on the offensive side of the ball, we need to play more with more pace. We need to see more thrust, like JJ Redick said. We need to make it easier for LeBron to get easy baskets in transition. I think it's going to be hard for Reeves all series, but he showed some grit. What I want to see is a better shooting game from not just Reeves, DFS, Vincent, to steal 1 in Minnesota. That's going to be very important on the offensive end. And lastly, we can't just focus on matchup hunting. We need to run motions. We need to get out and pace. And we need to have a little more variation than just Luka matchup. From the corners, some dives. We need to make decisions, right? And on the defensive side of the ball, we can't overhelp again. We need to stay disciplined on our switches. We need LeBron to be LeBron on that end. He's an MVP when he's doing what he needs to do on that end. Play Vando some more minutes against Minnesota and on Edwards, and let's see where it goes. Game 3, like it or hate it, drop a comment in debate.